winner is going to be the championship of Indie League. I mean, I can't tell if I'm given the go-ahead properly because for some reason my chat doesn't pop up, but you know what? Yeah, it looks like we got it.
There you
There we
go.
go.
And
Let's get into it.
the Wildcats do have Dr. Hitshot as their sub for this match here. And the Admirals, actually, okay, there's a friend of mine in there on the Admirals, so I might have a little bit of bias towards Luco, a player who actually used to be my player when I was a GM back in the day, who actually helped us to the finals of that season, as he was our super sub, actually. So a lot of respect to Luco. He's come a long way. It's great to see that he still plays in leagues like this. And so, yeah, that's another point for the Admirals for me. Just looking at the stats overall, the fact that they won against the Wildcats as well, right? I mean, anything could change here, but I'm seeing a 7-game series, and with Luco on that side, I don't know how they lose.
I mean, it's going to be so fun, this matchup. We're already a minute in, and we've seen a few shots go either way. The Admirals with a lot of pressure, but it does not matter because there's Legion looking to add on to that goals per game and try and get him above that 1 goal per game as well.
Beautiful start here, and that is a play where you want to be more aggressive if you're Vulcan, right? You want to maybe jump up for that ball just a little bit earlier, and that just allows Legion a wide open net to look at as he doesn't have that much pressure on him.
Oh. And, well, it's going to be a second goal as Willie...
Is that an own goal?
That
looked like it. That definitely was.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank goodness for replays, or else we would not have seen replays score that goal.
And that's a bit unfortunate there for the Admirals as a start. The first goal goes in, you let through the second. Off of, I mean, replays there, just thinking that it was in and diving for it. Such an awkward position, but it's going to be awkward now for the Admirals to try and transition this out into the rest of the game. Already being at this deficit, we'll see how they do, however, as Luco. Going to be able to keep this one onto the side wall. Beats one, up high. Replays is there, but gets beaten out. And Vulcan has to race over, but still the Admirals, I think, consistently being able to get into this orange half, but not really finding any decent shots while they're there.
Replays tries to get it to Vulcan, who gets it over to Luco, who will be in the corner. It pops up high, so it won't go back down to him. Vulcan nearly scores on his own shot, and Replay slams it off the crossbar as Vulcan, he re-enters into the rotation as he blocks off Luco. Unintentional, but I mean, that is the right play. When you block off your own teammate, you need to continue in the rotation because you kind of ruined it, right, in the first, so you need to then bring yourself back in, but most of the time, it's gonna ruin it. That's off the crossbar, so close, tantalizingly, as it's on the goal line, but not in, sadly. As that shot is on net, that's a clear goal.
Yeah, 3 shots in a row go off the crossbar, but finally Vulcan is able to sink his first of the series off that side wall. Admirals able to open up their scoring, and they had a lot of good chances there at the start, but as you said, unfortunate rotations does mean that they don't get it until just now. But it's good to see that we're not, getting a stomp in game 1, because usually that makes you worry when you come out in a best of 7 and there's the first game, one team comes out and just utterly dominates.
Right, exactly. That would definitely make you shake your head a bit, but I would say that that's not going to be a problem in this series. And even if it was for game 1, I think that we'd see a stomp the other way afterwards, right? And that's just the kind of teams that these two are. They could definitely, they both showed up already, and I mean, one game someone could really pop off, right? And then you just see in another, they aren't exactly invisible, but they are knocked out of the fray by the other team who realize, okay, we can just shut him down.
Absolutely is. Legion here going to look for another shot. Does force 2 players out, but they still get the save. And Willie actually beats 2 here. Should just turn straight around. It gets beaten out by the defense. That's some big misses. Replays luckily was able to hang in the air long enough to get the save, but this defense starting to look a bit sketchy here for the Admirals. Finally, Vulcan makes a good touch, still unable to clear it out of their own half. The Wildcats just unrelenting pressure. That might be top corner, and Legion just snipes that one away.
This one's a bit unfortunate. Again, I don't know if who cut rotation there, but that is definitely a cut rotation. As that double commit comes through, replaces in the net, not in the correct positioning. Can't make that save, and it's a 3-1 game with 1:13 left on the clock.
As replay is taking control. Once again, it's going to be the Admirals down 2. You know, it's an uncomfortable position to be in game 1, but the Wildcats have just been applying more pressure. They have just been a bit quicker here on these midfield rotations. You see, every time a clear is attempted, there is just a Wildcats player there to disrupt it. Even getting these back passes to try and clear out space. And now Legion, he's gonna look for his third, doesn't get it, but the Waft Master is there. And the Wildcats just utterly taking control of this game.
And Vulcan tries his best here, can't make that save as Luco got demoed. Unfortunate. It's 4-1. I think this game 1 is in the record books, done and dusted. But we still have 40 seconds left on this clock. Who's it going to build momentum for? Right now, it's building a lot of momentum for this Wildcats team. But the Admirals, they could have a little bit of a say here and really just bring out a nice goal or two to really lift up their spirits. Or their
it does feel like they do kind of need that. It would be nice if they were able to get the momentum back, to get the mentality back in shape to head further on into this series, because getting 4-1 to not feel good, especially when it just kind of feels like it's slowly slipping out of your control and out of your grasp. But it doesn't feel like anything's going to happen here for the Admirals. The ball will drop. Wildcats take game 1, 4-1. A convincing start to this finals for them.
Now, if you look at the rosters here, right, for the Admirals, you got replays, you got Luco, you got Vulcan. If Hydroxide is there, right, and he did not play practically at all during the season, right? 16 games were played by Luco, 16 games by Vulcan, 15 by replays. So pretty much the only time when Hydroxide played was when one of those players couldn't play. Mm-hmm. And so I don't think that there was ever a moment where he got subbed in. Right? But if ever you're in the finals, right, and you're down, let's say 2-0, right, as you were in the last series, would you make that call once again? Or do you think, well, we played together all season long, we're not breaking this up?
I think the thing is, for the Admirals, they've been in a similar situation before. They had a 7-game series against the Galaxy, which was a team that I think a lot of people expected them to beat pretty handedly, even though the Galaxy, were 12-6 in the regular season. But they did have a hard time with it. They stuck with the same roster, I think, for the whole thing. I think they're confident in their ability to make comebacks, and so I don't imagine they make a sub. I don't imagine this is a team that goes for that substitute player. But we'll see. The Wildcats have this game, too, to try and even press this lead more, where they got that win in game 1. Just keep pushing that momentum and the pace that they were bringing. And I think that they can force the Admirals into a really awkward position.
Definitely can, especially if they keep pushing the envelope. And I mean, if it didn't go well for the Wildcats, they at least had Dr. Hitshot there, who, I mean, has at least played in 5 games and did pretty decently whatever Waftmaster, Food, and iLegion just were not there to be able to play. And so if the Wildcats are ever led astray, I don't know if they will bring in their substitute, but for the Admirals, I don't think that they ever will. Yeah. I don't think it's in their blood. I don't think it's in their style, right? They are hardworking. They stayed together all season long with a good bond, and I think that's really what allowed them to get that 17-1 record. And they could have been at 18-0 if it wasn't for that one loss to the Wizards. Yeah. Who maybe you would give a extra pass to if they were up against, since they are a conference foe. But yeah, the Wildcats did I do believe, beat the Wizards.
Yep, they were on opposite sides of the bracket. Wildcats did take them out, and the Wildcats in general had the cleaner path to this finals. 2 4-1s in a row. Felt very confident from them, where the Admirals, as we mentioned, struggled in that first series. 4-3 looked like they might, end up dropping it, but they managed to pull it out in the end. Right now, though, the Wildcats, they're showing why they were so dominant in those first 2 series of the playoffs. And it's just consistent touches and outpacing their opponents as iLegion, well, he's definitely getting that stat bumped up to over a goal a game after this series.
Like for Food is doing very well there, getting that ball cleared out with a nice little touch, and it leads right to that beautiful goal there for iLegion, who I think is still the highest scorer there for his team. And I mean, he's not scored every goal because the Waffmaster has just scored his second of the series off of a beautiful 50 here off of Luco. Luco not flipping into that one and not getting too much power. That is a beautiful, beautiful redirect.
I mean, he just read it the entire way. Was even in the air. Didn't question if it was going to be a ground 50, and that's a third off the kickoff. The Wildcats are just faster. I don't know how, but their cars are just going faster.
Do you think the anchors are weighing down the Admirals here?
I mean, it's ships versus cats, so...
Right.
Maybe.
Can cats sink battleships? Have cats ever sunk a battleship before? Has a cat ever sunk a battleship? If it has, sure I think it's this kind of Wildcat, right?
Yeah, I'm sure there's a wire somewhere that, is like the... now, it's all over. The battleship is sinking.
Right.
At some point, a cat has to have chewed that.
Just that one wire that could not be cut. It just got chewed by a cat of all things.
Yes.
And there are ships that actually do have cats because most ships have rat problems, right? So they do have cats on board to get rid of those rats. As well, the cats are feeding themselves on the ships. It's 4-0. They're having a feast.
Yeah, a feast is one way to put it. This is... we talked about game 1 at the end there was kind of like convincing. This is getting to be a... This is a statement in this game 2 where it started off looking like it was going to be completely even, and the Wildcats have just taken every single advantage. They have, just pushed at every single... look how aggressive iLegion is. He is feeling himself so much right now.
And he's... Oh, wow, Luco. He could have gone for that flip reset there. He decides not to because it was a beautiful pass. Good save there. But it's more like the Admirals don't have the... Ooh, not just the drive, but the confidence. There you go. That's the word. The confidence that the Wildcats have, right? The Wildcats have just so much confidence, and it's not even like reasonable confidence either, right? They're going for plays that are quite unreasonable, right? And they're still going for them. Whether that's overconfidence or not, that's a different question, because they're scoring off of those plays.
Yeah, it's... the Wildcats, I think they're in that moment in a game where you realize we can just be as aggressive as we want, and we're not being punished. And the Admirals have not picked up the pace to a point where they're able to, to transition this ball downfield fast enough to punish the overcommittal and the aggression coming out from the Wildcats. And so they're just having a field day with it. 4-0, sure, the score has plateaued, but still this has been, I think this has been, 8 goals almost unanswered by the Admirals?
Is it 8 goals or is it 7?
It's 7 or 8 because they only scored 1 in game 1, and either way, it is just,
7, yes.
Complete and utter control by the Wildcats in this game, even though the Admirals, have some possession.
It's going to be 7.
Yeah, they will find a goal finally. It's nice, but you got to worry heading into game 3 because they're going to be down 2-0.
Right, definitely worry about it, especially that was, I mean, their first real shot on net, right? Their second, right? Because actually, Vulcan's shot was pretty decent earlier on. But those were the only two, like, really dangerous shots that have come up against this Wildcats team. They've not been tested at all. And even though the shots are practically tied, in fact, they will be now. Yes, they are tied. Whoa. And when it comes down to it, right? The aggressivity out of the Wildcats just ate up the need to have more shots, right? Because every shot was dangerous. When it came to the Admirals, they were so not passive. It's just that they didn't back themselves up, right? They had one shot. Okay, back to the drawing board.
Yeah. I mean, iLegion once again scores 2. It just felt like the Wildcats, they got their lead, and then they didn't really need to do anything with it. And it's nice for the Admirals that they at least get a goal back at the end of that game. But still, it's like, that was such a dominating game, and the Wildcats, they kind of just, it felt like they just took the foot off the gas at the end there because they didn't need to keep going at that pace. And now they're up 2-0 heading into a game 3. You have to hope for the Admirals that one goal has given them at least some of their confidence and motivation back. Because I really hope, I don't have any doubt in my mind that the Wildcats can just turn that engine back on.
It's going to be rough, right? And I mean, if any team is gonna do it, right? And have you ever seen a boat accelerate before? Like not a small boat, a big boat. You know, those battleships, right?
Yeah.
If you can think about it, right? It takes a while for that thing to get up to speed, right? It's nearly impossible to turn as well. So right now, I just think the ship is just accelerating at this point, right? It just started off. It's just a little bit slow to start accelerating, you know? And so that's the only problem right now. And the start, it's not looking too good. They were on the verge there, very, very close to once again starting off on the back foot. But they don't fall in the water just yet. They have not sunk. They are just getting attacked at the current moment. They need 4 hits to have that battleship sunk.
Yeah, it was. The scary thing about that was it was an open net, and it was just that the Waffmaster missed. That was it. That was a completely open net again for the Wildcats. And so even though that doesn't go in, still you're a little bit worried as Wildcats have been able to so far field both of these shots that have come out from the Admirals, and will finally be able to transition this out. iLegion leaves it for his teammate, and that's actually a really dangerous bounce. Replays has to get to it, but straight out to the midfield. Shot is high off the backboard. Replays gets there first. And finally, we're seeing, the Admirals get a bit more assertive here in this game, as this is a really awkward position. What's going on? Everyone's just missing. And I guess
that's on purpose. Look at Luco here. He doesn't touch this. No, that was definitely not on purpose. Never mind.
Yeah.
That was just that was Potato League. There you go.
Yeah, that was something. But
that's a nice tackle.
Yeah, it's the first time that the Admirals have gotten themselves a lead, so at least they'll be confident in that, as Willie almost drops that one down with an insane negative angle, but it's still control here for iLegion. Does get tackled all the way down into the Wildcats corner. The Admirals being a lot more aggressive this game, and that's what you want to see, especially when it's been the Wildcats who have been dictating the pace of these games.
Definitely, and I mean, if you come out of the gate when you're down pretty badly, right, with this much confidence and this much swagger, it definitely helps when you try and get yourself back into the game. And you see, yeah, I've definitely got this, right? I definitely got what it takes here. And I mean, it's looking like the Wildcats, they have the shots now. It's not as deadly as last game, so they're not allowing the Wildcats to be as aggressive. And I mean, the Admirals are being a lot more aggressive, as you can see there. Beautiful demo by Replays, as I mean, all you can do there, if you're who was it? Will Eat for food is watch that replay, right, and be like, oh, if only I didn't get demoed.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great play from the Admirals to open up this lead to 2. And again, it's the shots that you want to see.
Well,
As this is open. This should be in. Okay, I was gonna say.
That is revenge. That is
Yeah.
a revenge goal. Because look who he demos here. He demoed very much so on purpose. Will Eat for food, and yeah, that is a goal by Will Eat for food. That was a statement. That wasn't just a goal. That was a statement. You will not demo me without getting away with it. So now you just made Will Eat for food angry, right?
Yeah.
And how will this pump up the Wildcats? Now we're down 2-0 in terms of the score. How will this pump them up now as they just answered back as quickly as you like?
Yeah, and I do have to say for Willie, that was also just great awareness to stick around, and
there you
Legion just sauces through. I'm not sure what happened with the defender in net, but I think was it Vulcan that just went off the ceiling for no reason?
Inconsistencies. There's a reason you're an indie, right? Like you're not exactly top dog, right? Yeah, you can get Grand Champ, but that doesn't mean that you if you solo yourself all the way to Grand Champ, that's different, right? But that's a double commit that stops a goal from going in, and I mean that is one of the reasons why you're still in the league, right? Is that the communication, right? Needs to be on point when you're playing, and sometimes it isn't on point. But Vulcan will still find a way through with 93 seconds. Will Eat for food. Perfect pass down, but sadly he will get no assists for that goal.
Yeah, that was a series of unfortunate plays.
Events.
Yeah, there was the double commit to miss the goal for the Admirals, the clear out, and then the Waff Master just pushing up as third man way too far. It does mean that it is the Admirals who get themselves back to the lead, but Legion gonna look for a shot, can't get around replays. Still sticks with it, but the Admirals with a lot of chaos here in their corner, not a lot of boost to work with, and that demo should just open up so much space for the Wildcats to take control. That's an open net. I think you just put that in, but the Waff Master just takes too much time to recognize it. And I think the Wildcats here are almost playing a bit too safe after how the Admirals opened up this game.
I was actually looking at Waff Master when he was carrying this ball. He actually could not see the open net because of the ball. And so he actually couldn't react until it was too late that the net was wide open. Unlike Luco here, who had a clear view of where there was no one in net and decided to put, hey, let's put the ball on the left side corner where there's literally no one. And so it's now 4-2.
And the Admirals, they've found their response. Feels like, I mean, unless there's some miracle here for the Wildcats, there's not really a comfortable way to make a comeback into this game. Having to find 2 goals in, I mean, just around 30 seconds. And especially with how active and how aggressive the Admirals have been. I think that for the Wildcats, they are just kind of taking these final few seconds here to kind of decompress and think about how they're going to approach the next game, because the Admirals, they're going to get one back. 5-2 seals the game for them.
And we started another series down 2-0, and game number 3 that could have really put their backs against the wall. The opponents come in and they say, no, we're making this 2. So 2 games in a row where we see that happening. And I mean, last time we saw them winning 4 times in a row. Will the Admirals win 4 times in a row? Have their engine finally started here? Are they at max speed? Who knows? Because we still have a minimum of 10 minutes of Rocket League left to play.
And Willie does manage to get a goal back here for the Wildcats at the end of the game. Just finds a nice little chip, recognizes there's no one in net, and gets into the top corner. So for the Wildcats, you could tell that they were taking a little bit of time there to just kind of take a step back and assess what had happened. We'll see if they make any changes in at least their play style coming into game number 4. But right now, it's 2-1 for the scoreline. Admirals, I mean, finally find a response, and they absolutely needed this game.
They definitely did. I mean, you can't go down 3-0, right? That's just a series killer for most people. And so the fact that they find that game is so important to them.
Yeah, absolutely. And probably won't see the sub come through just yet. I still feel like the
I don't think
Wildcats,
so.
yeah, they still looked good in that game. Just the Admirals hit their stride. They managed to get everything kind of running as they would like them to. And so this game 4, I think, is going to be really the kind of indicator for how the rest of this series is going to go now that you've had the Admirals get this game, now that you've had them start to find goals and shut down the Wildcats especially.
All right, let's get this started, ladies and gentlemen. Game number 4 is underway, and if we tie up the series, it's going to be a minimum of 6, best of 3, and another long series. I said it, another 7-game series, right? And of course, the first series, it felt like a 7-game series, didn't it? Especially with games 4 and 5 being so close, right? It felt a lot longer than it actually was, despite the fact that those games actually didn't take that long between both those Maverick teams. But in this case, there hasn't been a long game yet, right? Every game has had some sort of a dominant team at the forefront. So now we need what we need, right? As viewers, as watchers of the game, and most definitely for these players, is a tight game, right? They don't want, obviously the Wildcats don't want to be dominated once again. And I mean, if the Admirals get dominated here, then I don't know what momentum or means anymore, right? Like, you don't. If I were the coach, I wouldn't know what to do. Even if I was the team captain, I wouldn't know what to do. And if I was a player on that team, I wouldn't know what to do, right? How do you change anything, right? Because if you feel like you haven't changed anything, and suddenly you go from dominant to dominated, right? Either you have to change something, right? And if you change something and it still goes wrong, well, what do you do then, right? And so it's about getting order if you're down with the Wildcats, which they have found the first goal, which might give them that order, right? But if you're the Admirals, you're not in the worst position in the world here, being down by 1.
Not at all. And for the Wildcats, this is their kind of recuperation game. They've now seen the hand that the Admirals have played. It's now their turn to respond. It's that back and forth that you see within these longer series of Rocket League. One team making a slight adjustment, the other team responding, and then so on and so forth, vice versa, until either there's a recipe that is found, or you just have one team edge out and lead over time, as that's a great shot from Vulcan. It's saved away, but 2 players committed. Willie rushes back, closes out on the incoming shot, and that just means that now it's the transition for the Wildcats, but a miss there sends it all the way back down to the orange end.
Let's see what they can do here with 3 minutes left to go. Luco will go off the sidewall. Up in the air, he'll miss his aerial. Will eat for food. We'll leave it down for the Waff Master, who keeps it for himself, and replays will steal it away. Legion in his own zone will 50 Luco, who, gets destroyed, but the ball is still in the offensive zone for the Admirals here, and Luco actually gets his shot off, stopped by the Waff Master, but the net is wide open for Vulcan to go down here. What a save by Legion, who comes back after getting his boost and coming from the sidewall as the goalie didn't even go up to get that ball, instead leaving it to Legion.
I mean, it's been one hell of a series from Legion, but now there's another dangerous position. Waff Master in the right spot to get the save away. That means with just under half this game left to go, it's still a 1-0 lead for the Wildcats. 2 players commit for that save, but no one has any boost. Everyone was committed to that play. The ground shot doesn't work out. Legion is just in the way. Another shot. Willie just messes up the flip on the backside rotation. And finally, the Admirals will tie it, but it took so much effort.
So much pressure. And finally, they cracked, right? Finally, after about a minute of pure, just absolute pressure by the Admirals, they have 10 shots right? And I think they only had 2 after the second minute of play as they score off of this kickoff here and get the lead. They actually deserved that after that last minute we just saw from them. But they just kept on piling that pressure, and the Wildcats just kept making save after save after save. Every Wildcat player right now has a savior to their name, right? That's how strong they played. That's how strong their rotations were. It was just about a matter of time of when they would break. And, I mean, one break in the rotation caused 2 goals to go in. But they answer back. We're back tied at 2 now. And if you're the Admirals, after that insane minute of play, you can't just let it slip away.
And both these teams right now absolutely bringing a new level to their play as Waffmaster both gets the block, recovers, has the awareness to know where the defender is, and finds a bounce shot to the far corner. I mean, just such good play from both these teams. We're tied up. It's 1 minute and 45 left on the clock. That's a triple commit coming out from the Admirals. They're all going to have to now rush back as iLegion unable to find that ship in the midfield. And as you said, just the rotations for the Wildcats holding strong. They're looking for each other on these passes. They're just being aggressive, and Luco just didn't, I guess, didn't have any boost in net and was stuck in an awkward spot.
No, he had the boost. Just very, very awkward. I think he just misjudged the ball speed, which happens, right? When you see the ball pop up like that, you can easily misjudge that ball speed. And then suddenly it changes up on you, right? You think it's a curveball, but really it's a changeup. And he got fooled by that pitch. And when he swung, all he got was air.
The floaters, they will get you as Waffmaster pops this high. The bump onto Vulcan, but replays will still find the save. The Wildcats are now up 1 in a game that will send them on to match point. Vulcan is unable to get around that to find it onto net, but replays challenges early. iLegion to pick it up. Should be able to get back around the pitch down for his teammate, but no boost to work with here for the Wildcats. It's dangerous.
Oh, no.
Willie just own goals it essentially as Vulcan finishes it off. And, well, I guess that's payback for Luco's whiff.
What's up with all these own goals?
I don't know.
It's like asking, what is it? It's pretty much like looking at the weather, right? And being like, oh, hey, it's sunny outside. Oh, hey, an own goal. You know, it's pretty much that common. Unless you live in England, right? You see the sun more often than not. And so you're... At this point right now, you're getting full of surprises if you're on both teams, right? Like gifts literally from each side as both teams are cracking under this pressure. For sure, both teams are under immense amounts of pressure, but by far, I would say the Admirals are under a lot more as they're the ones who are behind. But if they were able to tie up the series, it would be the Wildcats because it'd be their series to lose pretty much, right? And so if they lose it here, which they do on 0 seconds, we're tied at 2. And it comes off of, look at this, you see, Waffmaster is in net. You know why he's there? He got bumped by his own teammate. And that comes back to bite them after a single double commit in the last few seconds. It costs them. They're tied at 2. Titan. We've got a match on our hands.
That was painful. Sorry, I just had to spend a few moments with my hands in my head there because the Wildcats, their offense still looks great. Their defense looked rock solid. But just at the end of the game there, you could tell the pressure was getting to them. There were just a lot of misplays, a lot of mistakes, and that bump, it hurts, but the Admirals, they see the opening. Vulcan puts it through, gets himself a hat trick. We're tied up. And now the Wildcats are, as you said, there's a lot more pressure on them. If they're able to win that, set themselves onto match point, I would feel great with them just bringing that forward into a victory for the rest of the series. But now we're into a best of 3. Now it's the first to 2 more game wins. We'll take it.
Oh,
and
man.
Everything's been reset. It doesn't matter how bad the Admirals' first 2 games were, because they just won 2 very close games there. and everything is on the table.
Here's the thing, right? Is that everything the Admirals got in Game 4 came out of 1 minute of play, right? And I'm an advocate for playing all 5 minutes, right? Playing 1 minute at that insane pace, right? Must have really tuckered them out. Because for the rest of the match, they were pretty passive, right? After that second goal. And they weren't allowed that many more shots. I think they only shot like 2-3 more times in the remaining 2 minutes of play. And so with this quick start, I'm interested to see how they start here, right? How they continue to play. Because if they pressure for a whole minute and score a bunch of goals, then we might see the same result where they're just going to relax and wait for the Wildcats to respond instead of continue to apply the pressure, which might come back to bite them later on, which it almost did in the last.
Yeah, I mean, it almost looked like the Wildcats had that game down pat until the big mistakes came out on the defensive line. And so it was worrisome for the Admirals, but now you win that game and you gotta feel great. You gotta be like, oh, we just dodged a bullet there. Let's go. We are so ready to bring this and get ourselves onto match point. And well, they had a good start. Replays finds the first goal, tucks it away off the bounce pass. And now the Admirals are just continuing to apply pressure. They've not allowed the Wildcats a single shot. Walkmaster drops it down off the backboard. A miss. Legion was waiting for the touch to come out. That means that the Wildcats won't be able to get anything off this play.
Walkmaster will take that ball. He's still in the offensive zone, trying to find some offense. He'll give it to Legion, who shoots at top corner, and it gets stopped by the crossbar. Will pick it off the back wall. He goes for the double tap. Luca with the save. Vulcan will get the ball cleared out. He'll get a second shot as well. Legion needs to make the save. He does. He doesn't get pressured on by any Admiral player. In fact, there's a net completely wide open. Can he beat where he plays? Yes, he can, but he can't beat the post. He's not hard enough to beat the wall whatsoever. Legion can't do that much. 3:10 left on the clock as the ball gets cleared out.
Luco able to clear it downfield as first 2 minutes are about to pass in this game. That's a double commit there from the Wildcats. Vulcan capitalizes, feels backflip man in net. That's the Admirals who are up now 2-0 in game number 5.
You could say that Vulcan capitalizes. Huh? I'm dyslexic. I often actually switch 2 letters together, so capitalize, sometimes I will write it as capitalize by accident. So yeah, that's just me making fun of my own dyslexia there. Don't worry. And turning it into a pun.
Absolutely, that's what we love to see. That's what you're known for. So you gotta slot one in there. We've had a lack of puns.
Oh come on, it interests people.
Yeah.
I mean Vulcan.
Mean.
Oh man, when I think of Vulcan, I think of sleek, beautiful, I think of clean. That's exactly what that goal was, right? That was stealing candy from a baby, right? Like, absolutely, unfathomably unmoral, but at the same time, totally clean.
Yeah, absolutely. It was so smooth, but Vulcan gets the dunk. It's 3-0 for the Admirals, and they've hit the engine. As I said, after winning that game 4, it was kind of gifted to you. You gotta be feeling so good, and I don't know if the Wildcats can overcome that momentum that they just gave over, especially, knowing that it was their own mistakes that lost them that game. It's such a hard place to recover from, and now with 2 minutes left, they have a 3-goal deficit. They really haven't found any solid shots outside of, a few opportunities, but even then those opportunities were never turned into anything convincing.
And, I mean, with this being 3-0 with 105 seconds left on the clock here, right? If nothing comes of this, which it should have. It should be 3-1 right now. Let's imagine it's 3-1. And, I mean, they're trying their best right now to make it 3-1, but they just can't. And, I mean, they are being as aggressive as possibly can without letting a goal in, right? But it's just not working for them right now. They need to think of something else because When they aren't getting swarmed, right? They are getting matched and met. Oh, well, except for there.
Yeah,
Legion just gets a very fortunate bounce.
Also just finds an amazing 50-50 here, where Replays doesn't quite have the read on it, hits it down, and Legion was already ready for it. Slams it through, and it might give the Wildcats something. It gives them a lifeline here in game number 5, where this is what they have to work with. It's 1 goal a minute and a 2-goal deficit, and they have to try and work magic with it, but a double commit there is not going to help them out. A demo is a consolence for them as Willie is just chasing this down. Legion there on the recovery, gets it around the defender.
That's smart.
Looks for the bump, but isn't there fast enough. The drop down, it's dangerous. It's completely wide open. Where's the third man? He finally comes through, but it's too late. Replays finds the save. That was the ticket back into this game, and it was just not taken.
It definitely wasn't. Someone found Willy Wonka's golden ticket and decided to just shred it instead of taking it. And I mean, with all these demos coming through, a lot of time is being wasted. 2 goals needs to be scored here to go to overtime. A goal every 6 seconds, and that's slowly dwindling down every second that passes. And they must get a goal now off of this next touch, and they can't. And so it's 3-2 in favor of the Admirals, down 2-0. And we see the same story as the last series.
I mean,
except it's not as tight. We have yet to see an overtime game.
That is true. It's been domination after domination. We've had 1 or 2 close games, but other than that, it's been pretty convincing wins.
Would you say this was dominant?
No, this wasn't dominant, but it was convincing for the Admirals, I would say. At the end there, it got a bit sketchy, but for the rest of the game, it was really firmly in their control, and just the inability, I think, for the Wildcats to keep up the level of play that they opened with after the Admirals kind of responded and got their own engines rolling. It's starting to show itself. The mistakes that came through. I mean, as I said, just the mistakes in that game 4, I think, for the Wildcats are almost doing more to hurt them than the Admirals playing well. Because you can tell there's some hesitation. There's some touches that they're not necessarily going for now. And the Admirals have gotten a ton of momentum. They've gotten a ton of confidence. And it's the opposite for the Wildcats. Now headed into a game 6. They're down 3-2. They've lost 3 in a row. This is, I mean, you have to try and find some way to just completely recuperate, to clear the last 5 games from your mind, and to try and bring that game 1 energy and aggression.
100%. The Wildcats stay with the same lineup. They say, no, we're ready to go here. We've got ourselves what we need. We know we can do it. Let's see if that confidence pays off. Game number 6 is underway, ladies and gentlemen. With their backs against the wall, the Wildcats are up against a massive battleship. They only have 2 hits, and they have 3 misses. The 2 hits came on early. They can't find the rest of the battleship. Let's see if they can in this game number 6.
It's one of those curved battleships shaped like an L. It really throws you off when you're playing the game.
They have it on a diagonal, you know?
Yeah. It's in the DLC. EA Games.
I actually used to play on a board that allowed you to play with diagonal ships. As Replay scores his first goal in quite a while here, and finds a beauty of a wide open net. I've never seen such a wide open net before. Have you?
The Wildcats just pressed too far forward there, and Replays once again opens up the scoring for the Admirals, who again just have so much to work with here in these games. Legion once again up in the air, trying to do work off the kickoff, and is unable to get much done. Does force some awkward positions out from the Admirals, but the entire rest of the squad is just off getting boost. Demos come through. That's all 3 players demoed, but Legion just doesn't take control. That means that opportunity is completely wasted.
Yeah, just wasted, and Replay's able to get the goal in. Oh, that's so unfortunate. It hurts, right? The triple demo not coming to fruition. It's 2-0 now.
And the Admirals now, as everything seems to kind of be falling apart for the Wildcats, just taking advantage, finding their goals, finding their opportunities. And now it's Vulcan. I mean, just looking confident in the air, looks for a flip reset, gets it and puts it high, but unfortunately pinches it against the backboard. But you're just seeing the confidence from the Admirals now. You know, they are fully aware of what they're working with. They are aware of, you know, the mistakes that the Wildcats are now making, that they've made this comeback, and they're running with it. The Wildcats just have not been able to find a response. That one's not going to be in, but still, it just, you can just tell by the way that Wildcats are responding. They're not in position. They're not ready for it. Willie puts this high. No player there. And 2 minutes are gone, but already the Admirals looking like they are in prime position to take this in 6.
Definitely primed up, especially with it being 3-0, ladies and gentlemen. As we see another case of a game starting off strong, and then the engine that started off so slowly here for the Admirals, it finally started to work. What did I say? Boats just take forever to accelerate, and now they're at full speed. And the wind's even helping them in the back now. You know, like everything's going their way.
Yeah, it is. I mean, the own goal is just, it hurts so much, especially when the game's already out of
what
control.
a save.
Legion. What a
Very good
jump.
save.
Yeah, the pre-flip save even. And for the Wildcats, I mean, you need to make those plays. You gotta do something to get yourself hyped up, and so that might be it. Legion looking for the redirect, doesn't have a lot of power on it though. But he's looking for the plays. And if the Wildcats can connect with at least one sometime soon, maybe that will give them something. Again, a lifeline to work with. But they need it quick, because we're already 3 minutes through this game, and they have a 3-goal deficit to tackle.
So to win this game, they need to score a goal every 30 seconds if they want to win it in regulation. A goal every seconds would also help them out here to bring them to overtime. As the ball is on the sidewall, Luco's going to miss it as it hits up into the corner. Vulcan misses it too, so replays the last one back. Legion gets demoed, so this gives replays a lot of time. As he flicks it over one, can't get it over two. Vulcan now is the last one back. He picks up that ball, loses control of it. The pass, oh, it's not meant for Will Eat for Food, and it will be cleared out by Luco. Replays, picks up that ball over to Vulcan. Vulcan's shot a little too high, not cleared out by the Waffmaster though. As Legion will miss that ball. Luco, he's just going to wait for it. He's just going to waste time. And Will Eat for Food, what can he do? He backflips by accident and can't get the ball cleared out. The Waffmaster picks it up. There are 66 seconds left on the clock. Not much time left. Half the time from when we first discussed that as to how much time they had left to really come back into this. We talked about, and I mean, they have barely gotten out of their own zone. 52 seconds left on the clock now. As the Waffmaster can't get it out. Luco keeps it in. Will Eat for Food pops it up. It's still not out. Vulcan puts it back in. The Waffmaster finally puts it out of their own zone. Luco puts it down, wasting more time. 30 seconds left on the clock and just about there. And Legion does an incredible comeback here to get that ball out. But it's not going to be enough, I think. 25 seconds left, and it looks too little, too late for a comeback for the Wildcats. The Admirals, they were dominant all season long, losing only one match in the regular season. They started off slowly and made everyone question whether they were going to win this one or not. Ladies and gentlemen, the winners of the Indie League are the Admirals.
And it ends off as convincing as it started for their opponents. Just, I mean, the Wildcats, it seemed like they had lost all steam there at the end, and they really had. So many things didn't go their way. There were so many small mistakes that just set them off, and the Admirals took full advantage. They win it in 6. They find 4 in a row after being down 0-2. It's not quite the reverse sweep, but it's about as close, I mean, it's as close as you can get without it actually being one, and a very, very well-deserved win there for the Admirals. They're going to come out as the victor. And QDC, I think this time
We're
not gonna mess it up and go to a break because we should have an interview ready.
Yeah. I have our interviewee ready. Do you have a question in mind already?